techniques, 5 steps and techniques to better health. Okay, this is a free class. There'll be 3. This is class number 1. Class number 2 will be given on Wednesday. Class number 3 will be given on Sunday. Today, we're going to talk about activating your vital energy and taking care of the basics. What are the basics? Breathing, hydration, spirituality. We need a connection, right? Schedule, a good schedule, being organized, right? Nutrition and exercise. So welcome to the first class of the free course, 5 Steps to Holistic Health. That's more like it. We're going to start with the most important thing. Those things that I mentioned sound so simple. Of course I know I need to hydrate. Of course I know I need to exercise. I don't do it, but I need to do it, right? And all the other things. But these things are the roots of your energy, your well-being, and even the way you manage your emotions. So they're very important. And isn't it true? People look for complex solutions. They want things to sound so complicated, but the key lies in doing what we do every day: breathing, drinking water, eating, moving, organizing ourselves, and nourishing our spirituality. I repeated it to you so you can, if you're taking notes, you can write it down. If those things are not aligned, then symptoms appear. Let me introduce myself. My name is Karen Marinez. I'm an emotional wellness coach. I'm a little do because I'm accelerated. I'm excited because this class is amazing. This is the very first time we're going to offer it to the public in English. It's always done in Spanish. And so this is a really exciting thing, and I want to get it right. All right, so be patient with me. We don't have to have things that are so complex and complicated in order for it to help us. At Vimes, we like simplicity. It's easier on the mind, it's easier to understand, easier to put into practice, so these things could become a regular part of our lives. So of those things that I mentioned, which do you do in your daily life? I'm going to name them again. You ready? Breathing, good hydration, spirituality, being organized or carrying out a good schedule where you're not running around, calm, organized, getting things done in an orderly fashion, nutrition, and exercise. All right. Meanwhile, as y'all put that in the chat, I'm going to see who's here and say hello. All right. We have my dear Elvin. Hey, Elvin. Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn. Shawnee Boo. Hey, who's a member. Good to have you here. B. Hey, B. Reignite your radiance. Hi, Gio. You saw this in Spanish. Now you're supporting me in English. Thank you. Celeste Rose. Hello. It's a hey, Tiff. Another member. Thank you for being here. And Audie's. Hey, she says hello. Hello, hello. Good to have you here. This is class number 1. For those who are seeing it that couldn't see it live, it will stay here. You can see it as many times as you'd like. So something that fascinated me, and as I talk, please put in the chat the part, what of those things, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things do you implement in your daily life? Okay. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you mine. Which ones do I want to improve? Water and movement. And I realize, and I tell myself this all the time, Karen, it doesn't have to be an intense workout, because sometimes it's like, if I can't do 20 to 30 minutes, I'm not going to do it. But I want to have it in my mind, Karen, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's stretching, give your body the attention it deserves. So those are my things that I want to work on. Please feel free to put it in the chat what you want to carry out in your daily life, okay? Or what you're already doing. So we're going to have an in-depth explanation of step number 1. This is how it goes. It's 5 fundamental steps, this is what the class is about, to reach integrative health, well-being all around. This does not negate what our medical doctors do. The sick, go to the professionals, go to the doctors. But this is something to actually help us prevent. It can be preventative. We're already having a symptom. The body is already telling us something. We work on it. We can minimize the symptom and get better without needing to go to that other extreme of now I'm in the hospital or I need serious medication, right? But if we're there, these 5 steps can also help to mitigate, to control, to manage the symptoms better. Some have experienced symptoms disappearing or at least become more manageable. All right. So it's encouraging because it's treating the entire body. And a lot of us look to even alternative medicine, right? Acupuncturists, holistic practices, because those people tend to treat the entire body. And that's what this T5P T5P does. So there are 5 steps. The first step we're going to talk about today. And part of that is breathing. All right, you say breathing. Yes. Breathing regulates our nervous system. If we breathe quickly and shallowly, we're running, for instance, running from something, we end up like that. What does your body interpret it as? It's a sign of danger. Your cortisol levels rise, blood pressure rises, your heart beats faster. And what does that cause? Fatigue, insomnia, that's a big one because you're always on high alert. Gastritis, migraines. Does any of this sound familiar? Some of us have these symptoms all the time, and we have no idea that they are related to our nervous system, that emotions can drive these things to rise and aggravate the body and give us more symptoms. It's very interesting. Everything is linked in our body. Mind, soul, spirit, right? Physical, body, it's all linked. So we have to have integrative medicine where we treat this is not medicine, but treatments, techniques to help us to better ourselves, okay? So Vimes has now been doing research on breathing. We call it diaphragmatic breathing, but we used to call it deep belly breathing. And we're going to learn, because science is also changing, we're going to learn how to breathe without putting more stress on our body, because we're doing the diaphragmatic breathing for what? To calm us, to bring the cortisol levels down, to stop our heart from racing, right? We don't want to put more stress on the body. So we won't be holding our breath anymore. Remember, we'll be breathing for 5, hold for 5, let out for. We won't be doing that anymore. Interesting, right? And it may seem strange, but that breathing stresses us out because it's not normal. It's not typical breathing. It's not relaxed. It's forced. And we're counting and we're holding our breath. When do we ever hold our breath? Unless we're shocked, right? When you think about it, it really makes sense. So that type of breathing stresses us out. We breathe in for 5 and we hold it for 5. Our brain is saying, danger, is something going on? Like alarms start going off. Interesting. It sets alarms in the body. We want to breathe conscientiously though. When we do that, our parasympathetic system is activated. That means we become calm. We have better digestion, mental clarity, and balanced emotions. That's what we want, right? And that's why proper breathing is natural and free medicine, because everyone can do it. There's oxygen for everyone. We all have our lungs, we have our diaphragm. For those that don't know where it is, I'm going to show you today, and we're going to get started. Okay, let me just stop and see what some of you want to work on. Tiff says breathing, nice, perfect, because we're going to talk about that today. It says on top of the first one, but the last two I struggle with: nutrition and exercise. Nice. PJ says want to improve hydration. Same here. Celeste says spirituality first, of course. Improve on water, organization, breathing, exercise once a week, but can be more. I think I read that right. Yeah. So there's always room for improvement. And if we're aware of it, great, right? Then we can make the changes. Okay. So the way we used to breathe before was forced. We were counting the breaths. We're very in the moment. We're getting this thing done. And again, the nervous system, instead of being relaxed, is altered. It's actually activated. And it interprets it as something's happening here. This deep breathing, this holding the breath is telling me there's a change. Because again, the message we're sending puts our brain on alert. But we've learned this is appropriate in certain cases, athletes, or in particular therapy sessions accompanied by a therapist. But on our own, starting today, we're going to be careful not to make those drastic changes in our breathing. Today, we're going to teach you how to do it. So when you think about how much stress we live under on a daily basis, how many of us suffer from chronic anxiety, the stresses of the day? I live in New York City. The aggression of the people in the street. Don't even talk about behind the wheel. It's outrageous. And we need relief. Then we come home, and life at home can be stressful. We need relief. And how can we get it? By this diaphragmatic breathing. And what's required? Simply being aware of it. When our body is begging for this break, it's like a break. We want to be intentional about it because we're breathing all the time, even when we're asleep. It's a miracle. We still breathe. Our brain knows I need oxygen, right? And we're still doing it. But a few moments a day, it would be nice if we could sit and make it pleasant and manageable, put it into our routine, make it a habit of breathing through our diaphragm. Okay? So, Alejandro, si quieres poner el número 1, se me olvidó. So we don't want to be drastic. Okay? We're going to see some slides. Let me see. It just says, I feel like my middle name is stress and anxiety now. Of course, yeah. And Gio says she feels for us big city folks. Yeah, it's a lot. It's really, really a lot. And we need relief. And really, no matter where we live, there's stress and anxiety. People are in the countryside and they still, because of the upbringing, because of what they go through in their homes, in their lives, or what has happened to them, traumatic events in the past, they have panic attacks, anxiety, all the things. But of course, the big city actually makes it even more tough. So we could see in the slide, step 1 says addressing the fundamentals to nurture the body, mind, emotions, and spirit. We're treating the whole body, not just, I have a migraine, it's here. Yeah, but where does it come from originally? Why do you have the migraine? Let's get down to the nitty gritty, to the cause of it. There's an emotional cause to every physical symptom. If you're taking notes, please write that down. When I first heard it, I was like, huh? We just hear, I suffer, people say, I suffer from migraines, or I suffer from depression, or I have anxiety, I'm diabetic. And it becomes a part, I'm diabetic, it becomes a part of me. And then when people say, really, yeah, but it runs in my family. My dad has it, his father had it. It's just, my aunts have it. We weren't taught that for this physical symptom, it didn't just show up. There is an emotional cause to it. And if we can figure out what that emotional cause is, we can manage the symptoms better. So it puts us in the driver's seat. It gives us a measure of control. Of course, nothing is perfect with these imperfect bodies. However, if we can mitigate it, right? Nice. Okay. Número 2, por favor, Alejandro. So we want to see the connection between our physical symptoms and what our body's trying to tell us. You see, it says your body encompasses not only the physical, but you see that also emotional memories. So when we don't take care of the basics, like what we're talking about, nutrition, exercise, water, breathing, organization, the body screams. First, it's just a little whisper, I don't like this. I'm not comfortable with this. Then it gets a little louder. Then it gets a little loud. And then it's like, oh, you're not hearing me? And it screams. And that's when the big symptoms pop up. And we're like, I can't believe I'm diabetic. I can't, I went to the doctor. I have high blood pressure. It shows itself. So listen at this. Lack of water results in headaches, fatigue, and dry skin. It makes sense. Poor breathing. Shallow breathing because of tension. It leads to anxiety, muscle tension, insomnia. A lot of my clients suffer from insomnia. Half the people I meet suffer from insomnia or some form of it. They have to take something in order to be able to go to sleep. Oh, I take NyQuil. I take this. I take magnesium. All the things just to be able to sleep. Lack of movement. How does that affect us? Joint pain, slow circulation, and inflammation. Poor nutrition leads to lack of energy. Of course, if we're not giving our body the proper nutrients, lack of energy, mood swings, and chronic inflammation. Can you see how one affects the other? So we talked about hydration, breathing, movement, and nutrition. If we can get those habits in sync and do well with them, we can avoid all those other symptoms. How beautiful is that? So the symptoms don't appear out of nowhere. We're always shocked. I can't believe the doctor said. But they're a reflection of what? Neglected basic habits. And it goes deeper. For some of you, you've already sent me in the emotional wellness chat, you've already sent me the symptom that you'd like to work on. And for some of you, I've already sent the emotional cause of the symptom, and some have said, whoa, right? I'm working on the others. So the next couple of days, you'll all have your information. But you'll see how it gets down to the basics. And the interesting thing is that behind many of the symptoms, there are also retained emotions. That's what you see in the picture. You see those little ziggy lines, and they have faces on them. One is pink, one is blue, one is orange, and they're emotions, right? Those are things that our body remembers, and those are the things that cause constant stress. Healthy routines calm our sympathetic nervous system, which is the system that activates you when you have to escape. Remember, fight or flight? When you have to escape, that sympathetic nervous system gets activated. But it needs to be calm, because if it's activated and stays that way, it's sustained or constant stress. What does that produce? Cortisol. Cortisol throws the body completely off. So we need to get to the emotional root of it. How? When we neglect our physical body because there's something emotional there that's contained and not released. That's what you see in the picture, those little those little caricatures. Sometimes it happens even in the womb. We suffer trauma even in the womb. It could also be that I haven't experienced it, but my grandmother experienced it, my mom, my great-grandmother. All of that is running through our veins, the DNA. It's all there, right? The body has memory. The cells have memory. So everything is connected. So these things are going on unconsciously. It's not that we're aware of it. Sometimes we have no idea, because these generations were, don't tell a soul. So we may not even know. We may have to dig. But everything is connected. It's important for us to do these things, the breathing, the hydration, nutrition, exercise, from our consciousness, full attention, well aware. we've been operating out of the subconscious, just moving and grooving, just doing. And we lay down at night and say, why did I yell at so and so? I really got out of control. Why did that trigger me? Or, oh, another night I can't sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. Or, oh, I've been having this pain in my side and in my back. I don't, I got to get it checked out. Maybe it's my kidneys. We start talking. I've been having chest pain lately. We tell our friends, or we think about it like, yeah. And then the person or the doctor, once we go, they say, have you had it for a while? I think so. I feel it when I feel it. The doctor may even say, I want you to go home. We're going to do the exams, but I want, every time you feel it, I want you to write it down so we could see how often you're feeling this pain, because we're so on the go. I talk to the exhausted woman. We go and we go hard and strong. We're doing it out there. Sometimes we're very unaware of what's going on in here in our own bodies. So it's important to be aware and work from the present, our consciousness, but like full attention. Okay, let's see that. Candida, since childhood, I hold my breath, and actually when I get tense and nervous, that's normal. But imagine how it puts in high alert your nervous system, and it affected your blood pressure. You see that? Isn't, but yeah, shock, fight or flight, or freeze. So that's freezing. If I hold my breath, maybe as a little girl, they won't see me. I won't bother anyone. They'll just go away. Everything is a defense mechanism to protect ourselves. So there's nothing to blame. Even things we may learn that happen in past generations, it's like, oh, no, it's information so that we can take better care of ourselves, so we can know what's going on inside these beautiful bodies of ours, right? Okay, el otro, por favor, Alejandro. We want to see what's the relationship with retained emotions from the past. This look at this picture. It says symptoms serve as indicators of matters that have been neglected. So she's, oh, my neck, right? And she'll comment to a friend, and a friend may say, well, maybe have you been like the way you've been have you been looking at the screen lately with your computer? Maybe you need to lift it or whatever or maybe, she says, maybe I slept bad, like, oh, my neck. But if in your childhood you learned to suppress, for instance, anger or sadness, your body stored it as tension. If you experienced abandonment or rejection, it's possible your body responded with anxiety or a tight stomach. People say, I used to get knots in my stomach as a child when I would hear my parents argue, or when I would be waiting for my dad and he never showed up. Or my mom had to work at night and I'd be home with my siblings and I was nervous. We're kids, but she didn't have a choice. She had to work and she chose to work nights, and we felt abandoned, and I was left with this responsibility to care for my siblings. And of course, mom is doing what she thinks she has to do, which is care for her children. She needs to make a living. The child interprets it as abandonment, and understandably, a young child staying at home, the fear, there goes the anxiety, there goes the knots in my stomach, because we're not being protected by an adult. We're not safe. But the thing to remember is those retained emotions from way in the past, we may be 50, 60, 70 years old, are imprinted on our organs. Have you heard the expression, and there's a book which is phenomenal called The Body Keeps Score. We may not even be aware, or we may forget, but our body took notes of every single event in our lives, even in the womb, that we can't call up right now. Sometimes at 3 years old, we can't even remember things from 3, but some people can. Those retained emotions from the past are imprinted on our organs. And so it is with all symptoms, because the body remembers everything. Think of it as the greatest note taker ever. For instance, bronchitis or shortness of breath. That comes from emotions of fear or feeling of not being able to cope with life, like I just can't. Or an overprotective parent and you feel suffocated by them. They mean well. They want to protect you, but you feel suffocated. Being left alone. Or dad works, I hardly see him. He comes home after a long, he works 14 hours in total. By the time he gets to work, travels, comes back, he can't take care of me. He can't be here before I go to bed. I don't get to see him. Is he gonna get home safely? I don't get to spend time with him. And then on the weekends, he's taking classes. He's doing this. He's busy doing this and that. I need my dad. I feel as a child as I am being abandoned. That's how I interpret it. He thinks he's being the best dad ever because he's working, he's paying the bills, he's got the lights on, he's paying the rent, the mortgage. We're able to take a vacation every year, maybe. Our body translates it, remembers that, and then translates it into bronchitis or shortness of breath. What about back pain? A lot of us have back pain. That comes from burdens you never let go of. Even if you let go now and take care of yourself and you're like, I'm good, you have to let go of them from the past. And people say that all the time. Hey, Cynthia, good to have you. Welcome. People say that a lot. They come to me, my poor lungs. Yeah, it's people come, they sit, we start, and they're like, oh, no, I forgave my parents. Oh, yeah. But you forgave them now as a 30, 40, 50-year-old adult because you look back and say, but he was working. I didn't understand it then. But poor man, of course I didn't see him. But he wasn't abandoning me. I'm over that. But you're not over it because you're forgiving and dealing with it from the now as an adult. But I always encourage you have to go back to when you remember crying because I don't see daddy or mommy neglects me. Whatever the thing was. Were you 5, 6, 7, 8 years old? You have to go back to that little girl or boy and look at your parents like you looked at them then, not from an adult, I understand. You have to go back there in the past and look at the situation and forgive them from the past. It's very different because a 5-year-old does not have the understanding that a 50-year-old has. At 5, you don't have that amount of experience in life. You don't understand. You interpret things your parents do, even if it's out of care. Like, we're not talking about monsters here. They're great parents. They're doing the best they can with what they have. However, you at 5 years old only interpret it as, mommy is not here with me. I feel abandoned. That's where you have to go to do the forgiving. And when you do that, then you can make better decisions now in the present. We don't go back and stay there, but we go back to clean things up. Then we can be in the present, fully there, fully capable of, but now I'm grown. But yeah, I forgive her for that at 5 years old. Headaches comes from excess control and repetitive thoughts. And I don't value myself. Irritable bowel syndrome. Undigested emotions. Wow, this is deep stuff. You either hold them in, the emotions. I'm angry, but I refuse to show that I'm angry because I tried that before and everybody yelled at me, so I'm just going to hold it in. Or you release them so quickly, and right, that's where diarrhea and constipation comes in. Some people have one or the other. Some people have both. One time they can't, and then they go too much. Undigested emotions. I'm an emotional wellness coach. That's what we're here to help you to manage these emotions. We're not here to suppress them. We're here to look at them from different angles, face them, heal, go to the past here. And that's what this course does. Te Syncope. Yeah, it's 5 steps to wellness. So, Alejandro, si puedes poner el otro so we can see that. Symptoms are indicators that some type of emotions have been neglected. Okay. So it's so important to go back to the basics. It says on the screen, the initial step is to return to fundamentals. What is the fundamental? Breathe. You say breathe. I mean, a baby comes out of the womb. Sometimes they have to pat it on the booty. Why? So they cry. But all right, we're breathing here. All right, life it's going, right? Breathing correctly is the bridge between your body and your emotions. A conscious breath oxygenates our body and our brains. It feels so good, but it also unlocks retained memories. Alejandro and Mercy gave this class about 2 hours ago in Spanish, and he used an excellent illustration. He described it as like a private room that we never go into out of fear. Sometimes that's what our past looks like. These memories that we don't want to open that door. We're fearful of what's going to come out, but it's that your body remembers it anyway. People say, I don't want to deal with that. It's in the past. Leave the past in the past. Okay, your body says, okay. If that's how you think you want to handle it. Well, I started whispering. Now I'm going to scream out loud, and you end up with some serious symptom. It's so much better to face it. Open the door, peek in, start looking. And of course, if you have help, assistance, guidance from an emotional wellness coach, or when we do this class together, if you join the course, we'll all be together doing it. It gives you the courage to peek in that door. It could be a lot of frightful things in there. And that's why when somebody, when they sigh, and you're like, but you just dropped an ice cream cone. You're 30 years old. What's with the that's something back from when they were 5, 6, 7, or in the womb. Or somebody cries deeply, like unconsolably, and you're looking at them like, right, I didn't mean to that. And it's just that what you said or did triggered that back there in that room that's under lock and key. Ooh, and they're releasing old emotions. It has nothing to do with the now. Couples can understand. Sometimes you're like, the spouse responds in a way, and you're like, like what I said does not merit all of this. This obviously has nothing to do with me. It's that stuff way back there, those old emotions. So breathing is the bridge between our body and our emotions. The more, and it makes sense because the more relaxed our body is, we can release the uncomfortable. We can have the courage because we're oxygenated, and we can feel free to let go, face it, and then let it go, which is another part of this course. So today we're going to do step number 1, and then throughout the rest of the week we're going to go through each of the other 4 steps to wellness. Okay, let's explain breathing for a moment as an exercise. So place one hand on your abdomen, the upper part of your abdomen. I don't think you can see my upper abdomen, but right up under your chest. And the thing is, before we would say, take deep breaths, inhale, hold for 5, exhale, all the way out, empty your lungs. Even talking about it now, it feels forced because it is. But now we want to change, and we want to do it at our own pace. That puts the body in high alert. The brain says, hey, what's going on here? Like Gandhi that automatically holds her breath. The body's like, hey, what's going on? So we don't want to hold our breath for long periods of time. We don't want to blow out for a long time like we used to. We want to really do it at a pace that's comfortable. And this is interesting. I didn't know that everyone breathes differently. It makes sense. We're also individual. I mean, none of us have the same fingerprint, right? So your body should feel relaxed. We're not forcing anything. Put your hand above right at the top of your abdomen, and that's where your diaphragm is. People who sing, opera singers, you say, how do they project? They're not singing from here. they're singing from that diaphragm. When they pull from that diaphragm, and they can belt out those notes, and you're like, whoa, without a mic, oh wow. That's because it's from there. It's a very powerful thing. Okay, so guide your breathing. We all have our own rhythm. The goal is to feel calm and in your chest without counting, without force. But this is not the part. We're used to breathing in and out, and you could see the chest going up and down. But that's where if there's shallow oxygen, we want to pull from that diaphragm. So as we breathe in, our diaphragm or our abdomen should distend. It should go out and come back in. We want to be very conscientious. Another thing I learned, we don't want to interrupt the flow of air. So we don't want to be like this or be slouched or sitting like this. No, we want to be sitting up appropriately so that the air can flow naturally without distortion, without being affected. This is conscientious breathing. We're very present. We're not breathing and watching TV or on our cell phones. No, no, no. We're intentional. So we want to focus on it. This is our time. This is for our well-being. We don't want to be anxious or distracted or stressed. In fact, it's supposed to help us not be anxious. It's supposed to help us with distraction and stress and anxiety. We're not multitasking. I know we've been taught that. Get it all done. We don't want to do that. We want to focus and give it our full attention. All right? So no counting like we used to. Put one hand on the upper part of your abdomen. Pay attention to your hand. If it does not move, then try it. Just keep trying. Okay? So I'm not going to say inhale and exhale. Let's just try it 3 times together. I'm not going to tell you what to do because everyone has their own rhythm. But as you inhale and exhale, see if your hand moves. If it does, down on the top part of your abdomen, that's where the diaphragm is. The other thing is we don't want the shoulders to move up and down, and the chest should not be coming in and out so much. More so the diaphragm. Okay? If you felt your hand move even just a little bit in the upper part of your abdomen or your diaphragm, please say yes or put a check in the chat, okay? And make sure you're not slouched, make sure you're sitting up. So you say, but what if I'm laying down? Laying down is fine, but just make sure you don't have the pillow, a couple of pillows, and you're like this, because if you're like this, you're blocking the airway. We want the airway to flow. So that's very important to be aware of, okay? This change can help us digest, process our emotions every single day. Our body will have the capability of doing that. This is the first step, is simply breathing at your own pace. We used to call it deep breathing. Now we're going to call it conscientious breathing because it doesn't have to be so deep. Go ahead, go ahead, Audis. Yes. And I'm a singer, but I remember when I was first learning, I would have my hand on my chest and okay, my hand down here on my abdomen should move. Again, it takes full thought and concentration, and that's what we deserve. That's what we deserve. So this is so handy. PJ, yay, Tiffany, go girls. Nice, everybody's getting it. And again, at our own pace, not breathe in for 5, hold for 5, let out for 5. No, we're shifting from that. We've learned that going at our own pace, but calling it conscientious breathing is so much better. How handy is this to learn how to breathe from our diaphragm and naturally at ease? We might have to have a difficult conversation with someone in our family or our boss or a cranky neighbor. You may have to give a presentation in front of 50, 100, 200 people. You're nervous, you need to regroup. You can sit in your chair and do it. You can go in the bathroom and do it. You can sit in your car and do it. All of these things help us. It's all about our well-being. So taking care of the basics is non-negotiable. It has to be from now on. We have been trained by prior generations to neglect ourselves and get it all done. But we have to stop that. No. I'm not doing that anymore. We have to be determined to not do that. Did it help them? No, it didn't. The basics are non-negotiable. It's the foundation of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This is integrative health. It's the entire body, your entire your whole being. The brain is connected to the body. The brain shuts down, you need to be on life support because it's not telling the lungs anymore to breathe, to inhale and exhale. It's not telling the heart to pump. That's why people end up on life support. We are connected from head to toe. So we have to take care of it all. It's all connected. We can't leave one thing out and say, no, no, not anymore. If we have, it's okay. PJ and Candida, good. I'm getting all thumbs up. Very nice. If you didn't feel your diaphragm move, your abdomen, keep working at it. Practice. Be conscientious. You'll get it. It takes a little bit of time sometimes. So when you breathe, Alejandro, si puedes poner el otro, ¿verdad? When you hydrate, let's see if it comes on. You consume your water. These are fundamentals. Ahora el otro, Alejandro, por favor. These are all small reminders. When you eat well, look at that. Healthy foods, nuts and proteins and healthy fats. These are important to nourish our bodies. Y el otro, Alejandro, por favor. Oh, Cynthia gave us a thumbs up. Very nice. When you move, right? When you move, you feel so good. Look at that smile on her face, and you can see she's energized and she's feeling good. When we stay organized. Y ahora, Alejandro, el otro, por favor. B gave a thumbs up too. Nice. When we connect with our spirituality, we all have a spiritual need. We may worship in different ways, but when we engage with the spiritual, when we connect with a higher being, oh, it feels such a, these are all parts of us. We're not just physical, we're mental, we're emotional, we're spiritual beings. We have that spiritual need. When we do that, our life changes. Y ahora Alejandro el otro, por favor. When we do that, our life changes for the good because we're caring for ourselves. Look at that. Mindful breathing. Shallow breathing obstructs energy and oxygen flow. Conscious breathing, which is what we want, fosters tranquility, clarity, and alleviates tension. And each time we inhale, it represents life. Think of that baby. And they take a breath and start crying. There we go. Baby's alive. We're good. Take it at your own pace, free from stress. That's what we want. So our body keeps score on everything. These things, those memories, we may not even remember them. They're written on our organs. The body whispers to us certain symptoms. We ignore it. It gets a little loud. I'm too busy. Now it gets so loud, we're in the hospital. How many have had anxiety all their lives? Knots in the stomach, this, that, but they ignore, end up in the emergency room thinking they're having a heart attack and it's a panic attack. Doctors aren't even kind enough to say, baby, get yourself some therapy, get yourself some help. This is anxiety they'll just say, oh, we did the test. No, you're fine. Go home and rest. We don't want the body to scream loud. We want to hear the little whispers. What you need, baby? Pay attention. This is all we have. Okay. So today we focused on proper breathing. The other habits are included in the course's 30 challenges. You know, we do our day 1 to 30, the 30 challenges, and it just breaks it up. It makes it so much easier. One thing I learned today as well, when we're using our devices, because these things control our lives. Alejandro, si quieres, lo puedes sacar. Gracias. Gracias. We want to be aware of when we have our heads down looking at our device instead of having our head up. Be conscious of it so that we can take better care of the flow of air into our body. Very interesting. That's something I'm going to keep, because how often we're doing this, and they tell us this generation, our necks are going to be all out of whack, right? We want to work at that. So inquire within yourself. Do I engage in conscious breathing? Alejandro, si puede ponerlo de nuevo. Todavía no lo había puesto. Let's ask ourselves those questions. Let's see if he puts it up again. See, look, okay. He's putting it up. So your body holds memories of the past, but with each conscious breath, you can teach it to feel safe, free, and at peace. That's the first step towards your holistic healing. And the most beautiful thing is that it's when they're within everyone's reach. We don't have to pay for oxygen. We don't have to pay for our lungs. Fortunately, we're healthy enough. It's available to everyone. So here are some questions. Do I engage in conscious breathing? If not, you could start tonight. You did a little bit if you practiced with us. Am I consuming an adequate amount of water? That's number one for me. I want to improve on. Am I attuned to the signals my body's conveying? Let's be more aware. Let's pay more attention to what's going on in our bodies. Oh, I have a cramp. Well, how often do you get the cramp? How often do you get that headache? How often are you up till 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning? When did it start? These are things, just becoming aware. I've been at the doctor's years ago. Well, I don't, how often? I don't have a clue, because just running, just doing. Now it's time to slow down. And look at what it says. Your body's communicating with you. Are you prepared to heed its message? We want to listen. He deserves to be cared for and listened to. Okay, ahora Alejandro, terminamos. Gracias. I have these two quotes that I love. One is, where did I put it? I know I have it here on this computer. There we go. Your health and well-being should be your number one priority. Nothing else is more important. Isn't that true? We deserve it. It takes time and energy and focus, but aren't we worth it? We weren't taught. We're taught, oh, I have diabetes. All right, let me just take my medication. I have high blood pressure. Yeah, they gave me the pills. And we just accept it. Or yeah, I have these serious migraines. Ooh, and you hear people complaining about the medication and the side effects, and it makes me like, oh, I can't even hardly think, so I stop taking them. But I'm feeling the pain. Let's pay attention. Let's give ourselves what we need, what our body is begging for. And this other one is your body holds deep wisdom. That's that note taker. Trust in it, learn from it, nourish it, watch your life transform and be healthy. That's what we want. Health is wealth, right? So your body holds memories of the past. We want to feel free. We want to breathe. We want to practice it. Please, let's practice our breathing. Does any of this negate or replace what professional medical doctors say and do? No, this does not. We still need, you're sick, you go to your medical professional. But this is integrative health. It treats the whole person, not just one particular symptom. All right, so we've learned a lot. It's almost 10 o'clock, guys. We're going to go. I'll see you in class number 2. We're going to talk about how to heal the emotions behind your symptoms. Elvin put it in the chat earlier. Please like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if there's anyone you think could benefit from this, please share it. We would love to have as many people benefit from this information as possible. What else? Wednesday, same time, same place. I'll be here live on YouTube. This class will be available for replay. If you are not in the WhatsApp chat, it will be in the description. You can feel free to join. And this week where people are giving their symptoms so that I can get the emotional cause to you. Some people have come to tears seeing the emotional cause behind their symptoms. B says, thanks so much. This is wonderful. Will forevermore change how I breathe. No more 4-7-8 breathing, laugh out loud. Exactly. That's what we were taught. But now science is improving. We're learning more, and we're going to, isn't that nice that we're embracing ease and all, even with our breathing? So we want it to be more natural. Take really good care of yourselves. I'm going to open up the chat if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Mwah. Be well. Take care of that body. Be good. Bye.